All right, let's dive into something that's quietly powering a ton of the creative stuff you see every day, even if you don't realize it. We're talking about the public domain. Let's get right to it. Okay, so have you noticed some weird things happening with classic characters lately? I mean, Winnie the Pooh, the sweet honey-loving bear, is suddenly in a horror movie. What's up with that? And the original Mickey Mouse from Steamboat Willie, he's showing up in brand new video games. Not to mention the endless stream of new Sherlock Holmes stories. It really makes you wonder, right? How on earth can people just take these super famous characters and do whatever they want with them? Aren't there like huge companies that would sue them into oblivion? How are they doing this without asking for permission? Well, the answer to that whole puzzle is this incredible idea, this giant, shared playground for creativity. Think of it like a commons of the mind. And it has a name, the public domain. So what exactly is it? Put simply, the public domain is all the creative stuff, books, music, movies, characters, that nobody owns exclusively. There are no intellectual property rights, like copyright, attached to them anymore. They've basically been handed over to, well, everyone. They belong to all of us now, to use, to remix, to build on, totally free. And this is the key difference, right? Think about it like this. With copyright, a work is private property. Access is locked down. You need a key, permission, to use it. But with the public domain, it's a public park. The gates are wide open. Ownership is shared, access is for everybody, and you absolutely do not need to ask for permission. You know, there's this great metaphor that I think just perfectly captures it. Imagine the public domain is this huge, vast ocean of shared culture. And copyright? It's like a little coral reef of private rights that pops up out of that ocean. It's there for a while, but eventually it sinks back down and becomes part of the ocean again. And get this whole idea of a commons isn't new at all. It actually goes way, way back to ancient Roman law. They had this concept called res communis, which basically meant things that belong to everyone by their very nature. You know, things like the air we breathe, the oceans, the sunlight. The public domain? It's pretty much the cultural version of that. Okay, so if the public domain is this amazing place for creative works, how do they get there? Is it just random? Nope. There are actually a few very specific paths a work can take to end up in our shared cultural commons. So it really boils down to three main ways. The first and most common is that the copyright just expires. The second is that the rights get forfeited or given up. And the third is when copyright was never a thing for that work to begin with. All right, let's talk about path number one, expiration. This is the big one. See, copyright isn't forever. It's got a timer on it, like a clock that's ticking down. And once that clock hits zero, which is often a set number of years after the creator has passed away, boom, the work is free. This is exactly what happened with Winnie the Pooh's creator, A. Milne, and the Great Gatsby author F. Scott Fitzgerald. Their clocks ran out. Now, the second way is a little more accidental. It's called forfeiture. Sometimes people just plain lose their rights. A really famous example of this is the classic horror movie Night of the Living Dead. Can you believe it? The distributor just forgot to put the proper copyright notice on the film. And because of that one little slip-up, this hugely influential movie fell straight into the public domain from day one. And finally, path number three is for the stuff that was basically born free. Some things just can't be copyrighted, period. We're talking about the building blocks of everything, facts, ideas, simple equations. And here's a cool one. In the US, anything created by the federal government is automatically in the public domain. It belongs to the people from the get-go. Okay, so we know how works get into the public domain, but this is where the magic really happens. What's the result? What happens when all these amazing stories and characters are set free? Well, just look at Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It was written all the way back in 1818. Because it's been in the public domain for so long that one single book has exploded into a whole creative universe. We're talking countless movies, animations, comic books, video games, you name it. And every single one of those creators could just jump in and build on that story, no permission needed. And it's the exact same story for another icon we mentioned earlier, Sherlock Holmes. Once those original stories hit the public domain, it was like open season for creativity. People were free to reinvent the character in literally any way they could dream up. We've got movies, TV shows, video games, even a cartoon where he's in the 22nd century. It's incredible. So you see, this is so much more than just some dusty legal concept. Having a healthy, vibrant public domain is absolutely crucial for our culture. It really is the bigger picture. So why does it matter so much? Well, for one, the public domain provides the basic building blocks for all new art and knowledge. It guarantees that we all have access to our shared history. It's what allows for what people call follow-on innovation, where new ideas can spring directly from old ones. Think of a DJ sampling an old classical piece. And really importantly, it makes creativity more accessible. It lowers the cost for artists, for students, for educators, because they don't have to pay for expensive licenses to use these foundational works. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. So many of the masterpieces we love today were built on the shoulders of works from the past. So as more and more stories and characters join this amazing public commons every year, you have to wonder, what incredible new creations of tomorrow are being dreamed up right now using the building blocks of today? Something to think about.